Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're pretty close to the time to start. If we're ready, Dave, will we okay? Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for being here and being involved in our city government. Today is December the 5th. December the 5th at, we'll say 6 o'clock. So what I've asked Kim Leffler if she would do the opening prayer for us. Kim?
Our Father in heaven, we come before thee, and we're indeed grateful to be able to meet here as a city. And we pray that thy Spirit will be with us and that we will be able to discuss the matters before us this night and be able to come to solutions and to work out many things that need to be worked out. And we're grateful that we can live in a free country where we have this opportunity. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Also ask Councilwoman Hyatt if she would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Better get my glasses out there, I guess, so I can read what I need to say. Okay, we'll go to B, consent agenda. Number one, approval of the November 7th, 2018 City Council meetings and work session minutes, and also appointing members of the South Utah Valley Electric Service District SESD Advisory Board. I guess I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll go on to C, petitions. Number one, public forum. Anyone can speak on items that are not on the agenda. Please try to limit your comments if you would, 3 minutes or less. So we'll go ahead and open that public forum if there's anyone that would like to take advantage of that. Thank you. Come on up.
Mayor Wright, come to the podium. Mayor and council members and staff here in Payson and members of the public, it's an honor to be with you this evening. My name is Ben Stanley. I'm from Pleasant Grove, and I'm one of 2 people that was nominated this summer by Utah County to serve as representatives of Utah and Tooele counties on the Utah Transit Authority's Board of Trustees. And so that subject has been a cause of a little bit of concern within the county and around the state, as we haven't seen an appointment yet for our area. And I've promised the governor's office and friends that work for UTA and others that are supportive of my appointment that I would do what I call the consensus building and a listening tour. And I've met with as many mayors and councils as I can during public comments to just introduce myself briefly, talk a little bit about my background, answer any questions you may have. I graduated from BYU Law School in 2003, magna cum laude. I began my career in Chicago when I worked for the highest grossing law firm in the world, Kirkland & Ellis, where Skelnick Oaks and Ken Starr, Brett Kavanaugh, a few other legal luminaries began their careers or spent some of their significant parts of their career time. And there I represented United Airlines when they were suffering from, in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks, they were losing $2 billion a year. And so I helped rescue that company, a leader in public transportation, from bankruptcy and helped turn around that organization. I think our county commissioners were impressed with that experience working with union employees, working with a major transportation client, and helping to see an organization make the changes necessary to really thrive. We had a change in the legislature this summer, or earlier this year, that restructured the governance board of UTA and tried to put into place 3 appointees that would come from different parts of the state to help see that there would be some real oversight and some real scrutiny of some of the transactions to make sure that we're not seeing the scandals that have been there in the past that have tarnished the reputation of UTA. And so I'm honored and humbled to have been one of those nominees. I've also done a lot of public service. I've been in your seats in the past. I have been the president of the Utah County Mountain Timpanogos Rotary Club. I've been involved in a lot of different ways, but I'm honored by this opportunity to be of service. I think it's really important that we do have the voice of our choice here in Utah County and that we find ways to build relationships and work together and to address this crisis of a vacancy where we haven't had the right foundation to even begin to start the oversight and the management and leadership that UTA needs. And so I've got lots of things I'd be happy to chat about, our transportation plan and our 2019 tentative budget within UTA. If you have questions about those things, I'd love to tell you more about my background. I also want to be sensitive to your 3-minute time limit. But if there are questions, I'm happy to answer now. I also, if I can find on your website your email address, I'll shoot you an email so that you have my contact information and to thank you for letting me come and visit briefly, and then we can start a dialogue by email as well. Anything I can do for you at any time in the future, I'd just like to be your servant and your ally and your advocate in seeing some solutions to some of these transit needs that we have. I hear from people in Payson that we'd like to see tracks out further south, but there's a lot of things that we could do that would help make commuting easier and get cars off the road, be good for the environment, and I would like to help with all those things.
You bet. We'd love to see that come to us. Maybe front run would be something that would happen before tracks, but we'd love to have that, and there's some things that hopefully will help facilitate that as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Mayor. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll slip out and send you guys an email. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Anyone else? If you'd like to, please step forward. We're glad to hear from you. If not seeing anyone, we'll go ahead and close the forum, public forum, and move on to number 2. I'd like to invite any of the staff members to come up and report what they would like to let us know.
Mayor, City Council, and members of the public, just to report on the last 30 days of, excuse me, I guess the end of the month report on November. The police department had 80 arrests, 183 offenses, 179 citations, which resulted in 228 violations, 867 calls for service, 3 DUIs, 320 traffic stops, and 25 traffic accidents. So, staying about the same as the last couple of months, so we're happy to report that. We are going to have Santa Claus come to the police department again this year. I haven't got a firm date on Santa Claus when he's available yet, so I'll let everybody know when that does happen. So,
Thank you, Chief.
Council. I just want to invite you all and the community also to come to the Petite Me Christmas Boutique and Train Show. It'll be this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Friday 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Santa Claus will be from 5 to 7 p.m. Saturday the event will go from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Santa Claus will be 10 to 1 p.m. So we have 30 vendors this year. It should be a lot of fun. The train show, Doug Webb's done it for years, and he also, you just have to go if you've never been before. So, and lots of entertainment, dance groups, singing groups. So it's very festive, so make sure you come and see it. Thank you.
Janine, just to give Janine a plug, she works very, very hard at doing these community events, and those are the kind of events that will help us keep our identity and the hometown feel. So I'd invite you to please spread it to your families and friends. It seems like we'll go 20, 30 miles to other communities to support them, but we lack a little bit here sometimes. So I really would encourage everybody to come. Thanks, Janine.
Mayor and Council, just a quick update. Last week, the mayor and Brent and I met with the NRCS, and we went on a tour of all our facilities up the canyon and that to try to get funding to try to fix some of the issues that the fire caused so that we don't get flooded. Hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years while we have that potential. But it was a really good meeting. They were very helpful in giving us suggestions on how to try to work with us, so that we'll see how that goes. But we even added a few projects while we were out on the tour that they kind of saw and we talked about. So I think it'll be a good thing, and hopefully we'll get some funding You know, we do have a 25% match on anything that we do give, but still, if you look at it, that's a huge benefit to still get those projects done that we've never been able to do for a quarter of the cost that it would have cost us to do normally. So as we get more information, we'll let you know, but it was a really good meeting. So.
Yeah, and part of that process, we can plan all of these projects that we feel like we need to get planned and get numbers on, and that doesn't obligate us to anything other than to that point that we know what we have to address. So it's a win-win for us.
NRCS is the National Resource, what is that?
I can't remember exactly. I can't remember what the C stands for, but
It's a federal government agency.
yes. I know I should know every acronym there.
Acronyms, that's military and government. Any other staff? Okay, then we'll move on to council. We'll start with Councilwoman Hyatt.
I just wanted to thank the chamber for the nice Christmas party that they had. Andre is by far doing an awesome job out there trying to recruit new businesses, and she's just on the ball. I really appreciate that. And then Kent, I want to thank you for filling in that big pothole out there. I've hit it probably 5 times. So I want to thank you for that and for all of the work that your guys do throughout the year, patching holes like that and doing all that you do. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank the city crews for taking care of our streets, the snowplows coming through. Also, I was home, it's been several weeks now, but I was home and I got this message from my wife explaining that there were lights on Main Street. She was really excited. So the lights on Main Street look really good. I appreciate getting those up. It adds to the fill in the environment, and I appreciate it. Had the chance to visit with SUDPS on electrical needs. That meeting went really well, and that's all I have.
If I might just say a few things real quickly, I was going to mention the lights on Main Street as well. It's appreciate the staff and their ability to help us budget for that and make that happen. Also, the chamber, the Christmas luncheon we had, that was wonderful. I'd like to compliment the high school. The high school actually made the meal for us, and we were entertained by, I think it was the Travers. It was Travers. Just a really nice midday activity, and so really do appreciate those efforts there. Okay.
I want to echo my thanks to the staff also for the work that they do, especially Janine. If none of you have been up there to the boutique, like she said, you really need to go because it is wonderful. And if you've got all your shopping done, you can always find more to buy up there for all those neighbors and friends, and it's a wonderful thing. I also want to thank Tracy for the lights. I saw him up there on the ladder putting all those lights on, and I can't believe it. As I rode down Spanish Fork Main Street, I noticed that, man, it would have been easier to just loop them around like they did. But no, not Tracy, every limb. And they look beautiful. So Tracy, thank you so much. I believe that's all I've got. Thank you.
I did notice that on the lights in Spanish Fork, how we one-upped them, so thank you. Just a couple of things. One is about 3 weeks ago, the county with the chambers have started the Utah County visiting, and I went to their kickoff on that, and Val Hale and Cameron Martin are the co-chairs of that, so it's going to be something that if you've seen a survey come out, you might want to do that survey, but it's going to be trying to vision like we're trying to do for Payson is vision for the whole county. But so if you had opportunities to look at that, I'd encourage you to. Also, just a couple of interesting things. how Payson's doing this year. We've had 70 building permits for single houses, and we've actually had for 230 permits for doors. That includes apartments, but it's been since 2004 that we've had that many door permits in Payson. So, and also this year in permit values for construction of commercial, residential, remodeling, things like that. It's been a value of $31 million of permits, and it's been since 2007 that we've had that kind of numbers, and we might meet that, and maybe go clear back to 2004 if we meet that. So things are happening in Payson, and I appreciate everybody that's working with that, the citizens and the staff. They're doing a great job. So, and I did notice on the snow plowing that they plowed miles and miles of sidewalks too. So that was a great job. So thank you very much.
Well, I feel like we've been talking about Main Street quite a bit, but it was fun. They did air the movie that was filmed down there this summer, and it was really a lot of fun to see that and how dolled up the whole city streets were and everything. And my wife goes, "Why can't we do that every year?" And we went back down, and Tracy had gotten it pretty close. So we appreciate that. It's nice to have that little area, and everything else looks good. It's nice to get up and know I can make that the hill out in front of my house when the snowplow comes down. So, thanks.
Okay, one last thing that I thought of. I'd like to compliment the library. I was able to attend Santa Claus versus the Grinch. It's just really a nice activity. Very well attended. I even got to sit on the Grinch's lap, so Santa wouldn't let me. I had to stand by him. But anyhow, just a compliment to the staff at the library. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to number 4, Communities That Care, Mayor's Youth Recognition Award.
We have a couple of awards for tonight. So we have first from Payson Junior High, Zachary Reddington. If he's here, if you could please come up. So Zach is a 9th grader at Payson Junior, and his teachers say that he always helps out other students without being asked on topics they're learning in class. And his teachers say that they know they can put him near those who may be struggling because he will just help them out of the goodness of his heart. Another teacher says that he's hardworking and sets goals for himself and works like crazy to achieve them. Another says that he has always been serious about his education and works hard to understand and succeed. Math isn't an easy subject, but Zach persists until he understands. So congratulations, Zach. The next one we have is for Alfonso de la Torre Esperanza. If you could come over. And then this one I'm going to read in English and then translate into Spanish for some family members. But his teachers say that as a teacher and advisor at Payson High, they had the opportunity of getting to know him as a student who not only works for the Lions Roar newspaper and digital media class, but also with business and marketing in DECA. And the teacher says that Alfonso is like no other student. He's responsible, and not responsible like your typical high school student, but more responsible than most adults. He's very organized and always aware of his time. The teacher also says that she would recommend Alfonso for any scholarship, position of leadership, or job opportunity, and she believes that he will be a very valuable asset to any company, team, or organization. And then los maestros dicen que Alfonso es muy responsable, como más responsable que muchos adultos. Ha trabajado para el periódico de la escuela y siempre es uno de los primeros de terminar con las asignaciones y hace lo que le han pedido sin tener que trabajar mucho y hace muy bien. Congratulations. Okay, and then there's Saja Rudowich present. Okay, sweet. So Saja's here from Mount Nebo Junior High, and her teachers say she's such a kind student who's willing to help out with anything you ask. She's quick to jump in when she sees that there is a need. She welcomes new students to the school and helps all students feel welcomed and accepted. She's very self-motivated and asks thought-provoking questions, which deepen her level of learning and understanding. So congratulations.
I'd like to invite you to come
of council, if you would.
If the parents want to come up and take pictures right now, you're welcome to come up.
Come on over here, stand by two and looks like I maybe skipped the scout attendance certificates. Any scouts out there that we need to make certificates for? Okay, we'll move on. Number 5, Chamber Business of the Month. Jade, saw you walk in.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So I'm excited tonight to represent and to give you the nominations, for our December Business of the Month. There's many great things that go on throughout our community, and this company is definitely one that supports Payson and Santaquin in many ways. So our recent fire and the scare of so many that were misplaced out of their home, this business stepped up and made rooms available and food available and many things available that others would not have had. So we are honored to recognize Payson Quality Inn as our December Business of the Month.
The only thing I'd want to say is that I'm glad for the recognition for my employees because they did awesome. They really did.
I'd like to get a picture with the council.
They can't see me.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and move on to D, action items. Public hearing, request to vacate lots 1, 2, and 3 of Ashley Ridge subdivision, Plat A, including public utility easements and approval of Ashley Ridge subdivision, Plat B, with new public utility easements located at approximately 1300 East and Salem Canal Road. Jill, you're up.
Yes, Mayor and City Council, this is a fairly straightforward request, but there are certain requirements that we have to follow for state code and for city ordinance. So we do have 2 property owners that have agreed to an adjustment of property lines. And so it is lots 1, 2, and 3 on that map there. The red indicates the property line that is actually being adjusted, and it's only being adjusted about 2 to a little over 4 feet. It does go on a little angle, but those parcels that are owned by, you've got Jeff Capizzoli that owns lots 2 and 3, and then Raymond Lovelace owns lot number 1. So because it is part of a recorded plat, state code does require that you go through a plat amendment process. Plat amendment, because it involves vacating and assigning new public utility easement, it is required to be approved by the city council. It cannot be the planning commission or staff.
And so we have sent the notifications to the private utility providers or the affected entities, because there were other affected entities, to give them an opportunity to respond on the request and invite them to this meeting. I have received notice from 2 of the private utility companies, and both of them have indicated that they have reviewed it and they do not have any concerns with the adjustment. It is a public hearing, so we'll find out if there's anybody else here that may have any concerns with this. But as I mentioned, it is an adjustment that has been agreed upon by 2 property owners. I know that one property owner is here, so Mr. Lovelace is here. I have not seen Mr. Capozzoli, but staff has been in communication with them, and so the request is, unless there's anything brought up tonight that would limit this from moving forward, staff would request a decision of approval so the applicant can move forward with the recommendation of the plat.
Okay, then, I guess I'm ready for a motion to open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Oh, okay, I got ahead of myself. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, if you'd like to comment in this public hearing, please step to the mic, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Try to limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Basically, whether you agree or disagree, and don't repeat the information that's already been stated.
Thank you. My name is Raymond Lovelace. I am at 1345 East Haven Canal Road, and I own lot number 1. And I'm in favor of this, obviously, because the original boundary that was surveyed was only 2 feet away from the backside of an existing building, which did not meet the Payson setback ordinances. And so it was then resurveyed, and it was surveyed incorrectly a second time. And so I have asked for a meeting with the city, which Jill and others were there, and I appreciated that. But I don't know about anyone else in this room, but when you look at numbers, 25 feet left, 35 feet to the north, 17 feet to the middle of the road, to the, all of those numbers mean absolutely nothing to me. Markers on the ground mean everything. And I do not believe at this time, at least looking at it tonight, there are still no tracks in the snow. I don't think that the markers are on the ground, and until I see those markers on the ground, I still have reason to question whether or not the numbers are correct. And so I would hope that you approve this, but I hope that you would approve it subsequent to making sure that the boundary description is consistent with where the markers would be placed. And if you look at that plat and you go up to the upper right hand corner of that plat, it even says that the surveyor will put markers on the ground. And so I have no objection whatsoever. I want it done. It should have been done a long time ago, because in June of 2017 is when the Planning Commission approved this, and we're still a year and a half later trying to get something resolved that should have been done a year ago. So thank you.
Okay, it doesn't appear anybody else. Anybody else would they like to get up and address us? Okay, then I'll entertain the motion to close the public hearing. So moved. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any council discussion on this?
I just have a quick question, Jill. I've driven past there, but I haven't noticed too much. How's that subdivision coming along? Have they started that, or
houses?
There's been 2 building permits that have been issued for that, and a lot of interest. But I think they're finalizing a few requirements of the city, but it didn't withhold them from getting the building permit. So they're starting to pull some permits. It's exciting. And then the only other comment I have is, because it's a little tricky with a plat amendment, because you're vacating and reapplying, and I try to include, bullet points in your agenda request to help, guide the decision, that we're vacating the lots, we're vacating the public utility easement, we're adjusting the property line, and then we're creating a new plat and new public utility easements. So if that helps.
So can we do this contingent on the markers being put on the ground so we
And
can make sure that it's right?
If you wanted that to be a condition of approval, that would be appropriate.
You bet.
Okay, I guess I'm ready for a motion.
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the plat amendment to vacate lots 1, 2, and 3 of Ashley Ridge subdivision Plat A and vacate the existing public utility easements on lots 1, 2, and 3, moving the property line in favor of Lot 1 and create a new plot indicating the adjusted property line and new public utility easements on Plat B, subject to the markers being laid on the ground for Mr. Lovelace to look at. Is that good?
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go on to number 2, request to modify the exterior material requirement of the MWKV subdivision, Plat A, located on the southeast corner of the intersection of 300 North and 300 East. Daniel?
Well, that summed it up.
Okay, should we vote on it?
This one actually came to council a handful of weeks ago, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I guess I'll call it applicant, the homeowner, was not there at the date we discussed it.
Homeowner or the builder?
Both. Yeah. Both. Yeah. So we'll walk through here. Okay, well, we'll go through here, just to sketch you up. So locator map, like what we just said, 324 and 326 East, 300 North. The zone R175, the whole neighborhood is residential. The prior owner received approval for a Swin home. That's all done. That was done over a year ago. At the time of that approval, I shouldn't get ahead of it. We'll just go through here. That approval was for the ARMA 1. That's the overlay that allows for the twin home. So again, that was already done. And at that time, the city council, which can impose architectural design guidelines, decided to do so based on what was submitted by the applicant. So here's the final plat of the MWK subdivision showing the twin home. And here are the architectural standards submitted by the prior owner. So with the submission, it wasn't exactly A or B, but these were dispositive of the type of home that was to be built. So you see that they do differ from each other. So we have the all brick option, we have a stone and stucco, with the idea that any home that would come in would be consistent with these drawings, brick, stucco, stone. And the proposed front elevation of the current home by the current owner, pretty consistent. You can see the roof pitches, similar to the one on the top. We have the stone on the bottom, but then vinyl siding is what the owner was wanting. And at this point, we told them that wouldn't work. It would need to be stone, brick, stucco. So we redlined them to say stucco, with the understanding that the owner would like to see if council would approve of changing that from stucco to the original submission of vinyl. So looking around the neighborhood, one of the things with zoning ordinance is that any new development would need to be consistent, and I believe it uses some word like improve or enhance or something like that. That zoning is to enhance our communities and our neighborhoods. And so looking at the neighborhood, we see a mixture of housing types. Several older homes, but not all of them. There are some newer homes mixed in there. We see a mix of brick and stucco. I did see a couple vinyl homes within, a few block radius.
There's actually only two houses to the north, south was also.
Yeah, it has some vinyl on it, you're right.
That is also, that's where my concern lies, is because every time a windstorm comes through there, it blows the vinyl right on the back of that house.
Yeah.
Well, they're old.
What?
They're old.
No, it's brand new.
Oh, it is? Oh.
Yeah. There's an addition done to the Forester home.
Oh. Okay.
This is within line of sight from my own home.
So yeah,
So I
you know the area. Yeah.
So,
I think that's about the last slide. So, so today we're looking at amending those design standards.
And the finding is whether or not the proposal to amend it to be vinyl is consistent with the RMO1 overlay in Payson City Code, which states that the design must be compatible. So that's what you see within the 9.6.8.13, specifically the RMO1 that's compatible. Generally within the zoning ordinance, the idea is to enhance and create order and that kind of thing. And so then pursuant to this finding, the city council may approve or remand back to staff if there's additional information needed, or deny if they don't feel like the change would be consistent with our zoning code, or if the city council feels like the prior decision of council is what should be binding and not change. And so we discussed this last time. I know that there were some concerns among the council members, but we wanted to be able, or the council wanted to be able to hear directly from the owner builder here for his reasons as to why he believes that vinyl is both compatible with the neighborhood, and I believe it's his opinion that the vinyl here is actually an improvement, that it's nice and fits that neighborhood. And so we wanted to be able to hear his reasons rather than move forward and deny it without having his opportunity to speak. Do you have any questions for me, or? Okay.
So when you said you redlined the stucco, is that when
Oh.
one side stucco, one side stucco, one side vinyl?
No, it just means that the submission showed vinyl, and we said you can't build that home like that. And
we tape in the house when you're checking it off.
Right.
Yeah. So we decided that he could move forward with digging and doing foundation and framing and that kind of thing, because this is one of the last things to occur. And so in the meantime, basically if we required the prior exterior materials, he'd still build a home. Be upset, but still build a home. And so why not start the process and see if he can get it changed, rather than have to wait to go through the whole process before he even does the foundation work. So that's why we redlined it, moved forward with the understanding that this is something that while he's building, we would address. And as you know, he's been building the home based on these approvals. Does that answer all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is Steve here?
Yes.
I'd love to hear from you.
Okay. And you can come up to the podium.
I appreciate the opportunity. My thought on it is I'm looking for something that's kind of maintenance-free. Vinyl has been around for years and years and years. It's been improved through the years. And you say that somewhere in the neighborhood the vinyl is coming off. If it's coming off, it's not been installed properly.
That's right.
I'm not going to argue that.
So that's something that's going to look good through the years. It's going to be maintenance free. I mean, I can put stucco on it, but I just don't like that look. This was the look I'd like. I can put anything you want on there, but this is just, like I say, this is gonna, I'm looking for maintenance free. There's stucco on the sides and the back. This is just the front only. It's kind of interesting. I have a cousin in Idaho Falls. He just sold a $2 million house, and he's got a winter home in St. George and about a $2 million cabin in Island Park. He's wanting to size down his Idaho Falls home because they done spend a lot of time there. He bought a lot in a brand new subdivision in Idaho Falls, which is pretty cold weather. The whole subdivision is probably 400 to $1 million homes. Every one of them has got probably 80 to 90% vinyl siding. That's what people like in Idaho Falls, which is interesting. You go in different communities, then when I first moved down here from Idaho in 2000, everything was stucco, but now you're getting away from the stucco. And it's going to more of this kind of stuff. So That's my feeling. I like the look, I like the product. It will be installed properly and, pardon?
It will stay on the building?
It will stay on the building.
I do have a couple of questions for you. So are you building it as a spec home or are you the owner occupied
It's a spec.
spec home?
I plan on renting it out or selling, whichever.
Okay. And then the way it sits on the lot, right there where it's on the corner of 3rd North and 3rd East, is it possible to make that side of the building match the front? Is that, I don't know if that's a staff question or if that's a you question, because there's a whole lot of wall right there, that's what you see.
There's a whole lot of wall on every house
Yeah.
on the end.
Right.
You look at any house in the neighborhood, or probably in this
Right.
town, the end house, end view is gonna look like that.
Right, and I'm just kind of asking if you'd be willing to run the brick wainscot and the siding down the side, if that's what, just so
Well,
it kind of had a consistent
if that's
look
what you're
from the
gonna
front
make me
corner.
do, yeah, but
I
it's money, you know?
Right,
This is an investment that money talks. I want a nice, good-looking building. The reason I changed the design is the design that was originally approved by the city was tiny. I didn't want to take the chance of building a small, if you look at the 2 footprints on the units, the bedrooms are like 9 by 9. I mean, the original owner just put something together to get it through the city. It was really not viable. So when I bought it from them, then I changed the plan. I worked with Jill. We went through all this. And in fact, we changed the exterior to meet Jill's requirements. I redrew it 2 or 3 times to work with you, which is fine. I'm happy to do that.
so this is what it'll look like when it's finally done. I know the roof lines aren't currently in place, but that's.
Yeah, if you drive by there tomorrow, that's about what you're going to see.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'll drive by it tomorrow. All right. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of stucco. I was probably the wrench in the whole gears that were the problem. I'm less of a fan of stucco than I am of vinyl siding. So if it comes down to choosing between the two, I would pick the vinyl siding. But I was raised by a brick mason, and all brick home is the way I like to see it. But I actually have vinyl siding on a portion of my home as well. So
It's a good product. It's used. It's interesting, like you say, in different communities. And you go to, I use Idaho Falls because it's a good example. It's stiffer winters, but it's a good product, and that's what, if you go in Idaho Falls and drive around, it's all over in that city. And it's you see it around, in a 2-block area here, there's probably I don't know, 6, 8, 10 homes that's got vinyl siding. And this is certainly an improvement for the neighborhood.
there's quite a few of them right there in the direct vicinity that's got wood siding on it.
It's going to enhance the neighborhood, that's for sure.
Okay, is there any further council discussion, or just any council discussion?
I just wanted to comment, I go past it daily to get to the bus shop, and I live on 3rd East. I really like the looks of it, and I love the vinyl up on top. That vinyl that you're gonna put on the gable thing. I'm not opposed to the vinyl at all, but I would want the brick. I'm not sure if we need the sides bricked also, but that can be something that we.
Now that's
decide.
stone, it's.
The stone or whatever, yeah,
Cultured stone.
Cultured stone,
Yeah.
yes.
that's all I have.
Yeah, I'm gonna recuse myself because I've dealings with the applicant. But I did have one comment. I was in a subdivision in Spanish Fork, a new subdivision, that it was similar to this. They had vinyl, they are hardy board, and they had the stone, and they're $400,000 to $500,000 homes. It just surprised me because I hadn't even noticed it until we had this discussion a few weeks ago. So
Is the vinyl less expensive than the stucco?
Pretty close, same price.
Pretty
I
close?
mean, price is not the issue. I'll do anything you want me to do. It's,
Oh, well, then you
I
need to bid
I
for
like
brick.
the looks. I like the looks and I like to know, maintenance.
Is it, can we do a consistent finish all around the outside of it, Jill, or is that?
It's up to you. There was just a question between what was proposed through the approval process and what the applicant wanted to do. And we just wanted it to be above board and we wanted it in the minutes. So if any neighbor came by and said, we thought it was gonna be all brick, or we thought it was gonna be, that there's some record to show that it was a decision of the city council.
So can I say something? I think, aren't we trying to get away from that? I think when we're building, we want to go with the newest stuff out there. And I don't know how much hardy board is. I mean, that's something that you don't have to really work with either.
It has a little bit more maintenance than the vinyl siding would have.
But I don't think we should go backwards. We're trying to make our city more pleasing, and I just don't want to go backwards.
I'm not sure that having some vinyl on a home is going backwards. This is a beautiful building.
But then why did we put these specifications in before? What I'm saying is, are we gonna have to do this every time somebody wants to change what they put on their outside? I mean, I don't think I was here when the specifications were put into place. I don't know what they are.
Well, and Daniel and I've had that conversation recently of, do we want to put some design guidelines in the RMO that are specific to twin homes? But then as we discussed it, and Daniel's brought up some good points, is it really comes back to compatibility with the neighborhood. And so, if we put in the ordinance that you have to have brick, stucco, and stone, and certain percentage of material, it may look out of place too. So we don't want to be too specific. We really want to, and I think that's why Daniel presented tonight, this is what you see in the neighborhood. I think if it was all brick homes, I think staff would be recommending we need a brick home. But if there's a good mixture, if it's products in the neighborhood, all of it's on the table for you guys to consider. It's really about compatibility with the neighborhood. I agree with your comment about quality and new construction and, more durable materials. And, Mr. Harris probably knows more about durability than I do, but all those things have to be considered. I agree with that. I mean, we do need to make sure that we have really good products, but we also need to be looking at what fits in the neighborhood as well. So,
There's a few Adobe homes there. Should we go that way?
Well, it looks like there's, you've got the brick homes and then you have the older homes.
I mean, my father is right there. He's 2 houses down from there, brick mason for 30 years in that neighborhood, and so he's actually bricked all the brick homes that you see in that neighborhood, and so
That's why they look so good.
that is, and there are a lot of brick homes because of that in that area. But I don't know that I can see us needing to move forward. I would, my personal opinion and druthers would be that east side is dolled up just a touch more, and I'm not opposed to just going, if he wants the vinyl siding all the way around, let's do that and eliminate the stucco.
Go ahead.
But at least a wainscot up that east side. I don't know about the west side. It's not as prevalent, but as you drive down the road, there's a whole empty block and you see it, and it is there.
The east side is against the other
The west
home.
side.
Okay, thank you.
I get a little bit confused
Yes,
because
you do. All
I
right.
get them all backwards. So,
I just wanted to get that.
the other east side. Get that in the minutes. I meant the other east one, right?
I've
The
lived
west
in-
side, sorry.
I've lived in a home that has vinyl siding on the front, like this is going to have, for 50 years, and I haven't had to replace any as of yet.
Is it vinyl or aluminum?
It's vinyl.
Okay, that dents all over in our aluminum.
So I just think we need to decide, are people gonna have to come in every time they wanna change it? or are we just gonna put it back in there? We need to decide that because
Well,
we don't wanna have to
we
have.
can have that
everybody
discussion, but
wants to
that's
do
like a
this.
work session, like, that's not something that we
Yeah,
can
I
do
guess.
right now. Like, right now, we can say yes, or we can say no, or we can change it, but we can't go and change the entire city code right now.
Right.
So I
That's a good
would suggest
discussion.
that we probably had quite a bit of discussion on it, so I will entertain a motion. Okay.
My concern is that there were more stucco and brick homes, I thought, but there are enough of the others that I think, I went back through there. I think there are more brick and stucco that would mix better, but there's enough of all brick and enough siding, brick and siding, like Councilman Christensen's house, that I'm okay with it. And I am all right with asking, like kindly, saying extend that around the side, but I don't think it's fair to come in right now and say, let's increase the requirements that we already have. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think we should.
I don't think we can force that on him. That's a decision that if he feels he wants
We
to do.
we wouldn't
But
complain if you did,
We wouldn't complain.
but I
But
don't
would
think
you,
that's
would
something
you
we should
rather, I'm not opposed to lifting the stucco requirement entirely from it. That's my opinion on it. I can't think of a single stucco home in the neighborhood. There are adobe ones, but there aren't any stucco.
I think we have something before us that we need to go ahead and decide. So again, I'm open for a motion.
Councilman Christensen, if you're any rude.
I can make a motion. I just need to find the right wording here in front of me, so. I'd like to make a motion to modify the exterior material requirements of the MWKB subdivision, Plat A, located on the southeast corner of the intersection of 300 North and 300 East, to allow builder/homeowner to use a combination of rock and siding, vinyl siding, sorry, I should clarify that, with a rock wainscot minimum on the front and vinyl or stucco on the remainder of the home.
Okay, there's been a motion.
I'll
Have a second.
second that.
Okay, is that what we need?
Did that cover it, Daniel, Jill?
There's a lot of words.
Was a lot of words, I just want to make sure that it was.
Yeah.
It did, okay.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. This calls for a roll call vote, isn't it? Okay, starting with Councilman Christensen.
Aye.
I recuse myself.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries.
I do agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Hyatt, that we do need to look over and see if we can come up with a standard, so it's not different for every person that comes in.
Well, I think that what, the problem with this one, that it was presented at when they came in to get to build their permits, and he wanted to change it because he bought it after, so it was approved in a certain way, so I think the standard kind of
Probably
there.
already been set.
So,
Right.
so I
So
think
you
that
want to deviate from that.
covers part of it, yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to number 3, resolution, interlocal agreement with Utah County Major Crimes Task Force. Chief Bishop.
Mayor, City Council, this is just an updated agreement with Utah County Major Crimes. The major changes was being that in our old agreement that it stated that Major Crimes was its own entity, which it is not. It is an interlocal task force operated by numerous agencies, which are listed there on the front of the agreement. It's just stating that basically in terms of litigation and cooperation, each city will be bound by their own legal team, their own policies and that type of thing. So it's kind of an update of that.
I have a couple of questions for you. One is, it talked about money. Do we have how much, does the city send so much each year?
Yeah, each city's assessed by the number of population. I think we were about $7,000 or $8,000 is what we pay in towards the major crimes. We do not have an officer assigned to major crimes, so we just pay the standard population agreement that's been set forth when the cooperation was originally adopted years and years ago.
And then one last thing, they say they have an executive board. Is anybody from Payson on that executive board or not?
The board has changed a little bit, and each year we appoint or represent from the Chiefs Association. The only permanent member on that board is the Utah County Attorney, which is standing, but we do represent, I think, 6 seats on that board, depending on who is in line or who doesn't have a calling or, well, not calling, but assignment, but, sorry, calling, you know. But anyway, yeah, we do there's 6 chiefs that represent the cities on there, so it also leaves Orem as the home agency, basically, as you probably read that part, but not a lot changed, just basically it was kind of an error stating that it was its own entity, which it's not. It's an entity made up by numerous law enforcement agencies in Utah County.
So the way it's run isn't going to change, just a matter of...
Just to clear up some things, really. It wasn't nothing to do with any type of operational standards or anything like that, so.
Okay, you have any further discussion? Guess I'm ready for a motion.
Can I just ask something? So do they have, like you said, it's like you're saying, Val, when they appoint, do they make sure there's somebody like down here in the southern
We're all
part?
in Utah County, so it's kind of strange how it works, but it is all Utah County chiefs. It could be me one year, it could be Orem or American Fork, but it is a pretty good mix of the north and south.
Like the north and south, that's what I was
It's kind of like I'm on a board that's up in Ogden or somewhere, the state association. So you just never know where you're going to get picked at by the governor's office.